Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here and welcome back to the Recording in a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we are going to talk about virtual instruments. So virtual instruments, as the name implies, they are virtual, they are not real. They are not something that you sit down and play. Now, when I say that, it's not 100% correct. Okay, you may use a MIDI controller to play like an external keyboard, but the instrument itself does not exist in the physical world. It is in your software. Okay, it is a piece of software that you install in your computer and you load it onto a track. It takes MIDI data, whether that is from an external MIDI controller, as I said, like an external keyboard that can input MIDI data, or a drum pad that can input MIDI data, or some other weird, funky instrument that does MIDI data, or even you sitting there drawing them note for note in your software, the MIDI notes. The virtual instrument basically takes that MIDI data and converts it into sounds. And those sounds can be anything. You can find virtual instruments of almost any instrument out there. You can get drums, you can get guitars, basses, lots of orchestral instruments. You can even get vocal emulators. You can get lots of synths, pads, pianos, anything you can think of, you can probably find. Now, your software itself may contain quite a few virtual instruments of its own already. So you may already have them in your software and you just need to find them and load them onto your tracks. Cubase Pro includes quite a few, and I will show you around a few in a minute on, again on a screen capture, just to run you through the software, show you how I load a virtual instrument onto a track and show you how it actually operates, and just show you a few of the virtual instruments you get with Cubase Pro. Now, your software obviously is going to have different ones. Most of them are going to include some. I'm assuming they all include some. I could be wrong there, some may not. But you can also buy many as well. So you can buy virtual instruments to install that will get included sort of like plugins in your software that you can then pull up. So I'll show you a few of those as well that I have installed on my system, just to give you a brief understanding of what they are. Okay, so when we're in Cubase here and we want to load a virtual instrument, the first thing we need to do, if we haven't already done it, is to add an instrument track, which I can do here. Now, we can add it with nothing at all, or we can add it with some instruments already in place. So in my case here, we may as well just add it now. So I've got quite a few instruments, but I'll show you a few. But let's start off with one that is inbuilt in the Cubase, which is Halion Sonic SE. So if we have that picked, we then pick our output. I'll just leave it to the focal monitors for this time. And we just basically just add the track. And it'll add a track in here, which you can see on the left here, Halion Sonic. It's just given it a rough name. We can obviously rename it to whatever we want. But it automatically pulls up the virtual instrument here. And then from there, we have the option of, going through and picking a sound, so whatever you want to pick. You can pick an organ or whatever, then just load it on here. All right, then once we've picked our sound, we can obviously play along. And we've got our virtual sound here. And we could obviously change it to anything we like. We could go for a piano. Right, so lots of options there. Now, if we look over to the side here, we also have an input. Now, it's defaulted to all MIDI inputs, which is fine, okay, because, that'll allow any MIDI instrument to play it. If you have if you're planning on playing multiple instruments at once and having multiple, say, people with a MIDI controller, then you'll want to obviously specify which one is playing what instrument. Otherwise, all MIDI inputs means that you're going to have a clash. If two people are playing at the same time, they're going to both hit the same instrument. In my case here where I'm playing by myself, just having it set to all MIDI inputs is fine, but I have the ability to pick the exact item here as well. So if I want to pick my Seaboard Rise, I can do that. And when that's set, that would then allow me the ability to actually play my MIDI keyboard, and it will basically play the sounds as I'm doing here just with the mouse, but it would use the controller itself. So that's an example of an inbuilt Steinberg one that comes with Cubase, which has lots of different virtual instrument settings. Now we can obviously change that to anything else. So Retro Log, here's another one that's inbuilt into Cubase, which again is another sound, another virtual synth instrument there. But then we can also look at some third-party ones. So, you know, there's ones that I have purchased myself, the UVI workstation. Right, then I can load up one of their inbuilt synths, whatever it is that I have purchased. So I want to load that up and we'll get their lovely synth there that will play along and make sounds. But we're not limited to synths. We can have lots of different things. We can have drums, for instance. I could pull up Stephen Slate drums. And we can load various kits or whatever else, and we can have it playing drums along. Alright, we can just have all different drum kits, whatever you want to pick, and the choices are unlimited. So this is a third-party one that I purchased, added it to the program, no drums at all. And once we have our instrument loaded, again, as I said, we can play along with an external MIDI controller of some sort, and we can actually record. So we can set it to record, click record, play some notes, whatever we're doing, or hits on a drum pad machine, whatever you want to do. And we can do that. Now we do have the ability to even draw. So if we open up this window here, we could draw the notes manually if we wanted to create a pattern for drums. You know, whatever it is, I've just clicked randomly here. So that's that's not really something to be listening to, but we can obviously just draw the notes and away we go. So if you have any questions about virtual instruments or installing them or where to get them from, that sort of thing, any recommendations that you want, please feel free to ask these questions in the comments. You can start discussions around favorite virtual instruments, whatever you want to get out of it. Please just feel free to ask any questions you need to get the answers that you want so that you will be able to get your songs recorded and get the best out of your songs. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.